Today we're going to talk about the area of shapes. Sixth grade you're going to find the area of rectangles and parallelograms. Seventh grade you're going to find the area of triangles. And eighth grade you're going to work on the area of circles. But we're going to go over all of them together to get a better idea of how to find the area of these shapes. To start off with, we're going to do a word sort. Then I'm going to model a couple of problems for you. And then at the end you're going to do an exit slip. Before our word sort, we're going to sort the following words into groups. You can group these into any groups that you want. It does not matter how you group yours as long as you can justify the groupings that you've come up with. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this, to go through and group these words. You may begin. Teachers, at this time, pause the video so that you can discuss the groupings that some students may have come up with. Now we're going to look at some examples. What we're going to do in these is we're going to walk through and I'm going to show you the basic parts of the shape as well as the process in order to solve these problems. The question here is asking, what is the area of the parallelogram shown below? Down here we have 3.8 meters, which is our base. And then the 5 meters right here is your height. So you're going to use the formula, area equals base times height, and you're going to substitute the values. So our base was 3.8 and our height was 5. From here, you are going to multiply the two numbers together. 3.8 times 5 gives us an area of 19 square meters. Once again, all you're doing is substituting the values into the variables. Now we're going to do a question that involves a little bit of reading. It says a poster of Cowboy Stadium on Mr. Hicks's wall is 4 1/4 feet wide and 2 2/3 feet high. What is the area of the poster? This is once again a rectangular shape. The basic design, the basic way in which we solve this has not changed. We have the length, which is 4 1/4 feet, and the height, or the width, which is 2 2/3 feet. First thing we need to do is substitute the variables. This is what we did last week in our math line time. We did multiplication of fractions. Here we have two mixed numbers that we need to multiply together. The first thing we have to do is change them to improper fractions. Remember, 4 times 4 is 16 plus 1 is 17. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. So we have these improper fractions now. Now what we can do is we can go through and cross cancel to make our multiplication a little bit easier. 8 and 4 can be divided both by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now we're going to multiply 17 times 2 and 1 times 3. This is going to give us 34 over 3, which changes to 11 1/3 square feet. Sixth grade, this is what you were going to do a lot of here in a little bit. Now we're going to move on to triangles. Here it says, what is the area in square units of the triangle shown below? Here we have a picture of an obtuse triangle in which we have a base of 3 and a height of 4. You can tell the height because once again it is shown with the dotted line. Most of the time your height is going to be with the dotted line. The formula here, area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. You can either do base times height divided by 2, or you can just do half of the base times the height. It doesn't matter as long as you do it in order. Now, let's substitute in the variables right here. 1/2 3, which was the base, and 4, which is the height. Now what I did next is I multiplied the 3 times 4 to get 12. So now I'm going to take half of 12, which gives us 6 square units. Here there were no units for us to show, so what you do is you just call them square units because once again this is area. Now we're going to look at a problem involving everyone's friend, Phineas. There we go. In our class, Ms. Sefton has her students drawing Phineas, whose face forms a right triangle. Below are the dimensions of his face. What is the area of his face? So here we have our friend Phineas and the dimensions of his face, which form the right triangle. What I've done here is I've taken Phineas's face and made it into a right triangle. Here we can see that our base is 6 1/4 and our height is 9 3/5. So we're going to substitute those values into the formula. Okay, so now we have 1/2 times 9 3/5 times 6 1/4. Once again, when you are multiplying fractions and you have mixed numbers, you have to change them to improper fractions. So we have 5 times 9, which is 45, plus 3 is 48. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Okay, so now this does look like a lot of fractions, but we can simply go through and take care of what we need to, one at a time. So let's go ahead and look at some things we can cross cancel. Well, I see that the 2 and the 48 can be cross canceled. We'll change the 2 to a 1 and the 48 to a 24. Okay? 5 and 25 can both be divided by 5, so we're going to change a 5 to a 1 and a 25 to a 5. So now we have 24 and 4. They're both divisible by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. So now we have 1 times 1 times 1 as a denominator, and then 1 times 6 times 5. Well, 1 times 6 is 6, times 5 is 30. So we have 30 over 1, which gives us an answer of 30 square inches. Finally, we're going to look at an example involving a circle. Ms. Collier provided a delicious cheesecake for the faculty meeting. What is the area of the cheesecake? Here we have a cheesecake in which we have a radius of 1/4 yard. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to just substitute that 1/4 into the radius spot. So once again, that's going to be right here. Now, since the radius was 1/4, I decided to go with the approximation of 22 over 7 for pi. Now, what we have to do next is we have to bring out the 1/4 squared. So 1/4 squared means we need to multiply 1/4 by itself. So 1/4 times 1/4 equals 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 4 is 16. So that is what I have here. 22 over 7 times 1 over 16. Here we can do some cross canceling. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So now this gives us an answer of 11 times 1 is 11, and 7 times 8 is 56. So we have 11 over 56 square yards. At this point now, I want all the teachers to go over the problems that you were given for your grade levels.